Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our allied playthrough here. Things have been going pretty crazy. We got through 2 end turns last episode. We are pushing the Japanese out of China. Indochina might still fall. There's a very good chance of that, I'd say, but look at how well we're pushing them. We're actually flanking them from the south, especially the north, and we've recently started pushing in towards, not yet into, but towards Manchuria, with their armies refusing to back up. It's quite interesting the way the AI is acting. Greece is a front that we are constantly trying to reinforce and help. We have our front line. The Italians haven't moved in at all, and meanwhile, we're probably 1 turn away from Rommel's arrival, and we've pushed into Benghazi, which I don't know if the Allies actually did at this point. We do have 4 new units, though, and so that I don't forget, because I usually do, we're going to try and place them right now. Number 1 is the Prince of Wales battleship. Now, we don't actually have anywhere where we can immediately place it, and that's because I'm just cluttering this passage here of the Irish Sea. Entirely a me problem. We'll back the... well, we can actually take this and move it somewhere else. The Montgomery Destroyer. What would we like to do with the Montgomery Destroyer? Right now, the Germans are not really doing much of anything to us way out here in terms of our convoys. We'll send the Montgomery a little bit down this chain right here. Where is this? Let me look at the war map real quick. The convoys, this is everything, right? Okay, yeah, this is everything coming from the east is this. I don't know why they keep raiding Canada then. They could raid literally everything at once if they just like came up. Maybe it's not how that works. But they could raid a lot of things if they just focused here instead. I've been responding here with the Canadian convoy because that's usually where the enemies have ended up focusing. But let's go place that Prince of Wales battleship. It doesn't actually have to be in the port because it's fine. We have the 1st Cavalry Corps for the Soviets, and I'm probably going to place that in the south because I put the tanks and the mechanized up north. So we could have more cavalry down south, but where exactly would we want it? We could place it in Kherson as kind of a little backup. I expect this area to be pretty mobile, and I expect us to lose pretty much all of it. I could also place it behind the Dnieper on this end to kind of reinforce this river line. But this whole region is pretty weak in general compared to our northern defense leading to Moscow. We'll put it at Kherson behind the Dnieper down here instead. We do have some artillery as China. We sadly cannot deploy it all the way to Pekoy. We could put it right next to Pekoy. And it's, you know, I really should have just moved this corps. I really should have just moved this fucking corps. But I didn't. Oh well, you know, I'll pay for my mistakes. Indochina's probably going to be lost. There's nothing I can do about it. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm a new player. I don't think this through. I thought I'd be able to deploy it at Pekoy. I don't know why I can't. I really don't know why I can't, in fact. Maybe it's just too close to enemies. I'm not sure. We also have an Indian artillery that I purchased a while ago. We're going to go and place that at, not Calcutta. What's this then? Calicut? Calicut. Alright. We're going to go place it at Calicut because we want to get this moving as soon as possible into Africa to support the units that are down in Africa. I don't think we have any upgrades or anything from them. However, the Brits do have infantry weapons now, so that could be fun to get. I could go ahead and give this unit the works. Giving it mobility is so expensive. I don't want to give it that. I also don't need to give it anti-air because we're in Africa. There's no enemy air here. Now this could just be putting off something I have to do till later. Sadly, I guess there's just not enough supply down here to do the same thing. I guess not. That's a shame. But we'll go ahead and we'll give the Sudan Defense Force Corps some infantry weapons to improve their capabilities against infantry because that's what we need them for. These guys, I'll just keep swapping them out. The Indians will come and help this front become a thing that finishes. We dealt 2 damage. We got some XP. That's handy. That's going to make us even stronger. This is one way to solve this. Another 2 damage. None received. We're slaughtering this garrison now. That's good. And that's without infantry weapons. When we get this port, hopefully our supply will increase enough that we can reinforce back up to 10 and get infantry weapons for these soldiers. We obviously want to get the heavy artillery down there. We have full upgrades, which is just infantry weapons for the Indian Army here. The British Indian Army, BAI. British Army India Army. I don't know what that stands for. But we do need to get that moving too, because there's no point leaving anything in India. The Indians cannot go into Chinese territory and fight from it. They would only have 3 supply. That's it. So they can come down here into Burma. However, given the situation in China, I don't think even if we lost Indochina to the Japanese, I don't think that they're going to be able to take Malaya and Burma. If they do, I'll do something about it. But for right now, that something does not need to really be thought about. What we need is we need to send the Indians into Africa. We need to defeat Ethiopia and all the other Italian holdings here, and then get all this stuff, I guess, going up to Libya. And then once Libya's done, shit, I don't know. To be honest, I just didn't expect to even have this army, so this is just something extra. I was getting special forces and paratroopers, maybe. I forget what I've already purchased. Well, I got the special forces and artillery is what I did. We'll go ahead and operate these bastards over to Karachi. They'll go from there. We don't really need anything defending the west coast, no matter what it is, because that's where we're just going to be embarking. So this garrison is like, it's taking up a port that we could use for deployments. Then again, we're probably not going to get so many deployments that it's even going to be a problem. If it does become a problem, I'll just operate them. It's not really going to cost me very much or anything. We're currently at 750 MPP invested into India's research. It was capped just moments ago. So they made a lot of progress, clearly. Oh, we can even upgrade the artillery. Oh, did I do that or was that automatic? I think that was automatic. We're at 122, so not a lot of things that we could research if we wanted to, but one smart thing to research is logistics, because we're going to be doing a lot of logistics, making a lot of transports, because ideally everything works out and the Soviet Union does not fall, so the western part of India is not threatened. China is definitely not going to fall, so the eastern will not be threatened, so long as the Japanese don't manage to make some sort of counter effort after taking Indochina. I'm just going to assume that they're going to take Indochina. It's probably smarter that way. Assume your enemy is more capable than your enemy is, and prepare for it, right? That sounds smart. Alright, let's go get some more logistics researching. That sounds smart for India. So I decided to measure roughly how far away 30 hexes is from Midway Port to see how far away I'm able to actually move the American Navy in preparation for Pearl Harbor, because I'm thinking we'd want to show up pretty quickly and engage the Japanese Navy there before it can get back and do harm. This is a year away, so this is really thinking in advance. This right here, this line, this is the 30 hex spot. I don't have a way to mark it though, so I'm gonna like point at it. I'm gonna point at it on my screen. Hang on, let me, there's gotta be something I could sail out here. Okay, I actually measured it now with this open, and so this is roughly the 30 hex mark, so we'd want to be a little more to the east of this. I'm gonna send this destroyer up as just like a marker of, hey, do not go past this point. I'm gonna be a little generous with it. Especially because we'd want to get closer to Hawaii, right? So if I... What is this? This is 27263. 27263. And so we'd want to head down from here. Yeah, and so we could probably get down actually pretty well by the looks of it and still be 30 away from Midway. I'll count it again before I move it here. But we can actually get pretty fucking close to Midway without actually being penalized. Yeah, we can get pretty far down here, so I'm gonna do that. I'll still give it an extra hex or two just in case, because I don't really trust the game in this regard. But I'm gonna go ahead and send this bitch all the way out there. That's pretty good. Now imagine Pearl Harbor happens. Imagine the Japanese AI actually does Pearl Harbor. I don't know if they do, but let's imagine they do, right? Where do we want all these ships? On the Californian coast? No, of course not. We want them as close to Pearl as possible to assist in the defense. And whereas I know there will be upgrades we'll have to go back for, the carriers, for example, they have a lot of upgrades that they're probably gonna have by the looks of it. Yeah, because they're gonna need long-range aircraft advanced fighters. This shit just started researching, and this would take a moment. And we could just do this at Hawaii anyway. So let's start getting especially carriers headed out that way. That's part of why I did this also, so I can kind of mark a front that I can keep track of. So we send the Lexington right about here. There you go. What else do we have that's a carrier? We have the Wasp. Let's send the Wasp. Which one sunk? Was it the Wasp, the Lexington, the Hornet? We don't have the Hornet. Does the Hornet come later? I kind of forget right now. We don't even need a cruise sail to get you out here. This is still a little far back, but that's fine. Over here in America, let's go ahead and take these tactical bombers that I've probably been leaving here forever and move them closer to the coast so I don't forget them anymore. We're going to take the medium bombers that are upgraded and move them further north, right next to where we have these Air Force fighters. We're going to move these actually back a touch so that we can move the medium bombers in their place. I think that's some pretty good placement. I might do something similar here. Yeah, probably. I'll go ahead and move this here, and the next time I'll move the TAC fighters, and that should be good. We have the 1st Army buffed up to LA right now. We have only mobility upgrades for the Americans. That's not going to be very important when you're island hopping. You're not really going to need trucks to outmaneuver somebody. It would only be relevant if we get into Japan, and honestly, we might just let the Japanese or the Chinese do most of that. We might just let the Chinese land and start kicking ass. And then if they do that, I mean, maybe I can snipe Tokyo with an American for the MPPs, because America would actually be able to reinforce Europe, because I looked it up and found that the USSR and China are non-cooperative majors. So, yeah, so other nations can't go into their territory. So we probably don't want China taking Japan, but you know what? If they can do it, that would be great. I'm not going to invest too heavy in the American land army at the start because I'm realizing we're not going to need it. We're just going to need the Navy to break Japan's control of the seas. And then if we, at any point, get some more amphibious warfare with China, we could actually just stage the whole fucking invasion of Tokyo and Japan on China's dollar. That would mean China would get the occupation of Japan and MPPs from that. But if the Chinese are the one that's put all the foot power into it, you know, that's good. Because that means I don't have to put as much money from America into funding a land invasion of Japan. And the American money can then go into focusing Europe and stuff. Because we might need the Americans in India. We might need them in fighting over the DEI. I mean, we probably will. Now that I think about it, yeah, we probably will need them over here. So the Chinese could just do that with the American Navy. I mean, that's just a thought, right? I don't know how that's going to work out. That's just a thought. How's morale going, especially with these Italians? 89%? Hell yeah. 83% for the Japanese? That's cool. How are the Chinese doing? 89%? Cool. This game does have graphs you can look at. I just haven't really been looking at them. We can see the Japanese national morale. What the hell is a relative value? Oh, I see. I don't care about that. So, national morale for Japan, as we see, went down because they lost an important city recently. China's has gone up. We can also see where it started at, like, I don't know if this is from the beginning of the game, but, like, you can see dates here to kind of compare things. Yeah, Poland just fell off, and Poland's marked as 100, even though Poland's at 0, which is kind of weird. India's is static. America's is static. France died. Yeah, 0 equals 100 here, I guess, even with relative values. The UK has been kind of static, but it's gone down overall, probably due to the losses of France. Germany's has gone up since the start. Yeah, Italy's is going down. Japan's going down. So I'm seeing good things here. I'm definitely seeing good things. What is this? These are losses or kills. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. America can go ahead and get their next level of production technology for assigning upgrades and making troops in the long run. That's going to be really, really helpful for America. And America can just get so much tech in general. And they have so much MPPs. The only reason they don't have more is because they're not in the war. We still have 180. We can go ahead and assign that to another important research. Not entirely sure which one. So advanced subs would be great because Japan relies very heavily on its convoys from what I've seen in the MPPs. So upgrading subs would be nice, except we don't have subs, which is why I'm like, if we're relying pretty much on the Navy at the start here with America after Pearl Harbor and letting the Chinese do the foot power stuff, then I think the most important thing I can get with the remainder of these MPPs is better long-range aircraft. That way we can buff up the carriers even more. And our planes, because we do have a lot of planes as America. And that could also probably be pretty handy for taking down Japan as well. So let's go ahead and research the next level of long-range aircraft. And that's going to pump us up even more. Amphibious warfare is thankfully improving. Now, that's all we're going to do as America. We're not going to spend any of the USSR's current points. I think I added an extra S there. Let's go ahead and take this anti-tank and use it as a little bit of a recon, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and move it because it has trucks. All right, we know there's nothing behind this garrison. That's good. So now we can take the actual recon unit and move that around. There's also nothing back here at Sirte, or whatever the fuck. So we're going to drive around with the tank now and completely surround the enemy 4th garrison. We don't have the ability to, like, reinforce anything, so that's not anything I'm really concerning myself with. We'll move the army down as far as it goes. It doesn't go too far because it doesn't have mobility trucks or anything like that. Let's see. We'll move the corps forward. I don't really know to where. We'll go ahead and move the artillery down the road at the very least. These special forces can move forward. We're going to take the attack bombers and we're going to try to bomb this bitch. And unfortunately, no damage was done. We're going to move the HQ up to Benghazi so it can spread its supplies a little bit closer to the front for obvious reasons. And our chances against this one aren't as great because we're just out of supply and we're out of readiness and morale. It's just the desert's not a great place to be. But since we can push, we might as well give it a shot. Now, this is not going to be the best push, mind you. But let's start with the tank. Alright, 1 damage dealt, none taken. That's good. Anyone have any chance? The corps does. But did not manage. Entrenchment levels are going down, however. Let's shoot with the anti-tank next. No luck. Attack with the recon. No luck, but the enemy is mostly out of entrenchment and our other units are moving up. We're going to go ahead and move the attack bombers forward a little bit more. The supply from Tobruk is improving, and it will do so from Benghazi as well. I just kind of want to push up as far as possible before Rommel gets here. That's kind of my idea. Now, as we've seen, the UK has gotten their infantry weapons, so that's really, really important. The Greeks don't have any more corps that we can recruit, so we instead are going to go ahead. We're going to add infantry weapons to the Epirus army. We're going to upgrade the Macedonian army with infantry weapons and anti-air defense. No mobility. They have a defensive role. They don't need mobility. And we have a corps here that we can stuff infantry weapons into. We've already put anti-air defense. Its supply is just dog shit because the supply in Greece is dog shit. We need an HQ nearby, but that's just not easy. And one problem here is like, so the supply coming from here is 5, meaning the armies would have 5. That would not be good if this got cut off in any way, because then these armies would just die. So the HQ kind of needs to stay up here. We're just going to wait for the corps to arrive and then kind of let that handle that. And it's hard to plan too far ahead, but doing my best. As the UK, we have done a lot of our research. We do need to get more points into research now that we're spending on other things as well. One thing that's going to be of obvious importance to us in the long run is going to be the 2nd level of infantry weapons, due to how heavy just infantry usage is in everything and what a difference it makes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the next level of infantry weapons researching. This is like roughly half, I think, of the MPPs we end up with every turn with our convoys and our natural collection of MPPs goes. So I'm trying to like split it right now so we can keep improving but also keep responding to threats. Now this will limit my ability to maybe upgrade certain ships. We're going to get the Canadian destroyer placed in Liverpool, where it can end up getting up to snuff. We're going to upgrade the Amazon destroyer since it just needs upgrades. It doesn't need to be repaired, so it can be ready to go next turn. The Jersey destroyer and the Bulldog one, these are all good to go. Let's send the Bulldog one down this line a little bit. There's not likely to be a lot of Germans. We'll take the Castleton destroyer and put that away. This is one of the things I think we got for the destroyers for bases event. The Jersey destroyer again is another thing. I don't know exactly where to send that right now, so I'll just send that out like in between everything. We don't have any threats to respond to immediately at the moment, so I'm not really too worried about it. We can go ahead and sail the Parthian sub northeast, passing by Spain. Spain is something that could become a problem. It's 63% leaning towards the Axis. The AI is trying really, really hard to get it to join the Axis. And it's going to work. Now, thankfully, that doesn't really open up a new front. It does open up with the Gibraltar, I guess. So, like, I'm thinking giving this infantry weapons on top of anti-aircraft defense might be kind of smart. 10 MPPs and that's it. It already has XP and an elite extra strength point. So that could maybe help it hold off because the Gibraltar is relatively important. It is relatively important, and it could be a way in to Europe, but if it joins, depending on when Spain joins, it could actually be really fucking terrible for us. We're only at 10 MPPs now. There's not a whole lot we could do with it. We can add one to one of these destroyers, but I think we'll just hold on to it for now, as really we don't need to do anything with it for right now. We'll just let it be. We'll use it next turn, maybe. we have to look at the Chinese front. This corps is still getting its ass beat. They just keep wanting to kill this corps. So I have to keep dumping points into keeping this corps alive. But it is keeping the AI here, because they see they could do the most damage by attacking me here. They dealt a lot of damage this turn, I'll give them that. They dealt about as much as the Hanoi Kunming Railway is giving me this turn. But it's keeping them here, and it's keeping them getting encircled, because they're not thinking long term because, well, it's AI, and AI doesn't really do that. Up north, we did take one loss to this corps. We'll go ahead and replenish that. And we do have the potential to push in, but I doubt they're leaving this stuff here undefended. Now, there's a lot of mud in China right now, as we can see, which is making moving very fucking difficult. Like, just moving one tile in mud takes 2 action points. So without trucks, that's as far as you're moving in that turn, pretty much. So we're going to go ahead and use this lull to definitely assign some more infantry weapon upgrades, because that's going to help us get on par with these dastardly Japs, although we want to pick and choose where we actually assign it. We can't assign it anywhere that's bordering any enemies, unfortunately. In the south, we do need to press our attack, although that's not going to be the easiest to do. We'll start with the garrison, because the garrison in the rear dies, then this corps is just lost. We'll attack with this corps, and thankfully, despite its terrible situation, it did successfully take the point, exactly what I needed it to do. Now this enemy corps is completely surrounded. We can't move too much, so we can't really get around it right now, which is unfortunate. So we'll just go ahead and we'll start beating it down, or trying to beat it down. Deal some damage, but the lack of supply next turn should really give us the advantage. I don't know what's further down here, but we'll find out now that we're about to really have this place under lock and key. Let's go ahead and reinforce the 5th Corps here, get it up to strength. We got it upgraded with infantry weapons, which is fantastic. Is there anything else that could... Yeah, there are a couple things that could be given infantry weapons, but there's a semi-dangerous front that we're looking at here. One thing that will limit me this turn is the fact that I will do some more research as China. We're less than half of our max research. I'm going to pour it into more indie tech to try to get them more points in the long run. Let's see here. I want to do damage where I can do it, because the Japanese are basically in... Well, they should be in retreat. We are pushing them. Whether I can do a lot of damage or otherwise, I do want to try to do damage. Let's go ahead and attack with the 23rd Army. That went absolutely terribly. Let's try again with the Special Forces. That didn't go well either. Oh, that's fucking fantastic. Alright, cool. Let's assign infantry weapons here then. Might as well, right? Want to get this army in a position where it can get something like that soon as well. And I'd say the same for these Special Forces. Because the Special Forces, well, I mean, they didn't get too hurt, actually. Let's go and swap out with this Corps right here. The Corps will not attack. This Corps is not in a position to recover. The supply here is yet to recover or expand or anything like that. This army is just kind of stuck because it can't move a lot right now. We'll move it forward a fortification just because we can. We'll go ahead and upgrade this Corps with infantry weapons. We'll reinforce this one back up to strength. That covers getting everything back up to strength, at least for the time being. That we can get back up to strength, I believe. Well, no, not this one. So we'll go ahead and do this one too while the movement is just so poor. We'll go ahead and step forward once with this Corps. Push a little bit further. We're going to take the engineers and we're going to put them up here. We can probably go ahead. Yeah, we can fortify this position. Where would we need fortifications facing? Down right? No, because that's the ocean. Up right and up? That seems good to me in case we ever need to defend this. I also just could not set up fortifications here and ignore it. Let's go ahead and rotate this. Which reminds me, I think I forgot last turn about the engineers on the Soviet front line here. I think I forgot about them completely, in fact. Yeah, probably. Probably did. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Let's... where should I put you? I'll swap you down. So this Corps is now in the entrenchments. I don't think you can fortify towns. They're either fortified already or not. So I'll swap you basically all the way down here where you'll set up your next fortification along this line. Starting next turn, because we... Well, yeah, no, wait. No, we can start now, even if you're out. So we just kind of need it facing... A 3-prong here could be good, because this is like the southern part of the line. But at the same time, I don't know, it's also not that important. This is very likely to fall. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go ahead and make 3 sides and face it like this. And then that should hopefully be good for the Soviets. I'm gonna try to take a peek as the Chinese. Damn, I can't quite see all the way over here. Might have something to do with the river, but I'm not gonna take any big chances. We'll stay on our side of the border, push this forward. Maybe they respond to it, because we're officially in Manchuria, which is occupied and can be liberated. The last thing I can really think of to do as the Chinese is go ahead and move this HQ forward a touch, just so that it keeps up with the front line. These fighters are going to stay put. And then I believe that's all we have for this turn. Yep, we've exhausted pretty much everything. Let's go ahead and end turn and go into February, where hopefully Rommel doesn't show up with movement and start kicking my ass immediately. Still blockading Brest. It has no supply at the moment, which is good. It means the Germans cannot operate out of here. I'm not as excited about seeing that we develop things, because I just don't believe it anymore. I just don't believe that it's true. Yeah, it develops Infantry Warfare 1. Wait, oh, that's something different. Never mind. UK has a good amount. France still barely collecting anything. Hanoi, Kunming still kicking ass for us. Yeah, everything looks good to me. It's still winter, which hurts our overall convoy route supplies, which is sad. But oh well. It's time for the Axis turn. Yeah, if we can get Bordeaux messed up like that too, then that's another port that they just wouldn't be able to really operate out of. The Italians are reinforcing all their garrisons that we've been hurting. That's just been their mantra, you know. That's what they've been doing, and it's been working for them. It's been working for them. We'll see how long it works for you, you dastardly bastards. We'll see how long. What are you doing? What are you plotting? Fleet moving. So they're moving a lot of ships. I would assume that that would be Japanese. Could also be Italians. Ooh, 2. Oh, God. Huge damage. God. Yeah, they really keep attacking this core. That's another Hanoi Kunming railway line level of repairing we'll have to do. Defensive artillery is the Japanese attack in the north. They're not really succeeding at their attacks. Even without defensive fire, they're not succeeding anymore. Trying to be offensive here, around Nanchang, I believe this is called, and failing. That one corps that's always in the danger zone has been pushed back, so we'll be able to get infantry weapons and actually properly reinforce it as of next turn as well, which would be fantastic. And the Germans are moving more along this line. Can you feel the heavy push they're planning on making over here? I'm surprised how light it seems up north. The enemy Japanese are suffering attrition here, just as I expected and hoped. They'll be dead soon. Yeah, Brest has no supply. You can't do anything out of Brest. That's good for us. Calculating supply, and that's the whole Axis turn. It's crazy. Like, they've just been preparing or something, but they haven't been doing a whole lot. Not a whole lot indeed. Spotting corpse in Romania. Intelligence from the Kingdom of Yugoslavia shows that the Regent Prince Paul is about to sign the Tripartite Pact and join the Axis. If we wish to stop him from doing so, we will need to act now, and the opportunity to do so has fortunately presented itself as Prince Paul's nephew, King Peter II, who's planning a coup. Peter II is totally opposed to the Axis, and his success will inevitably bring Yugoslavia into conflict with the Axis. And with our help, he may be able to increase his armed forces in time to offer significant resistance to the enemy. Providing officers and equipment to the Yugoslav armed forces will cost 60 MPPs, 30 MPPs a turn for 2 turns. Would you like to support the pro-Allied coup in Yugoslavia? If you say yes, then Yugoslavia will join the Allies and deploy an HQ unit at Belgrade to command its armed forces. Politically, if Greece has not yet entered the war, then it will swing 30 to 40% towards the Allies. Germany will lose 1,000 morale points, although it will regain them should Yugoslavia surrender. If you say no, Yugoslavia will sign the Tripartite Pact, join the Axis, Germany will gain 1,000 national morale points. So basically, I have to spend 60 MPPs to ensure the invasion of Yugoslavia happens and hurt temporarily German morale and stop them from gaining extra. Sure, why not? Let's go. And that's pretty much it. The first army's back. That's nice. The first Chinese army, we're definitely going to get that down here. Let me go ahead and just move the artillery right now. I'll place this before I forget about it, because this army might be helpful in taking Haikou if that's even possible. And we have the first corps from Greece, which we can deploy. And where shall we deploy that indeed? I guess somewhere where it could fill in the line. We're getting 3 cores, right? So we can literally fill in a line here in the mountains along the roadway. I mean, that would certainly be nice. I think I'll go ahead and deploy that shit right. I guess we'd want to focus this line here. These two especially, because that's how we connect to down here. So let's go ahead and deploy this right next to the HQ to serve as a blocking force. We could also use one up here. Reinforcing the Metaxas line from the Bulgarian front could be very handy. So maybe instead of just fortifying like this, I'll go ahead and fortify up here and down a line, assuming they wouldn't be able to break through the mountains. With that, I can actually take the Athens core and move it up here, and hopefully it'll be in range of supply to actually get some reinforcements. And then with this garrison, like, we could just move this over here. Maybe not the best idea, but something needs to hold over here. This may just encourage them to come south, but if they do that, then we could just, like, get behind them. Because I don't think they have a lot over here. We're going to be more mobile because we have cores. But that is going to be it for this episode, so thank you guys very much for watching. As always, let me know what your thoughts are about the progress of the war and how you think certain operations and things are going to go. And for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.